Hi everyone and welcome back to another video. Now you may have seen a video circulating on social media which purports to show a female prison officer from HMP Wandsworth engaging in sex with an inmate inside of their cell. As a result of this, a female called Linda de Souza Abreu from Fulham in southwest London has appeared at Uxbridge Magistrates Court, where she has been charged with misconduct in a public office and has, as you might expect, been suspended from her duties. The 30-year-old spoke only to confirm her name, address and date of birth, and the case was sent to the Crown Court. Now, the Metropolitan Police stated that they had started an investigation on Friday of last week after officers were made aware of the video allegedly filmed inside of HMP Wandsworth. Now, the charge itself states that she has willfully and without reasonable excuse or justification misconducted herself in a way which amounted to an abuse of the public's trust in the office holder by engaging in a sexual act with a prisoner in a prison cell. And in this video, I'm just going to briefly go through the offence of misconduct in a public office and then talk about potential sentencing for this kind of offending. Now, I'm not going to use specifics from this case. This is a live investigation, so it's not appropriate for me to talk about the case beyond the brief facts that have been reported in the media. But I will talk about the offence and other cases so you can see potentially what the likely sentencing may be. Welcome to my channel, Andy on Crime, where I talk about high-profile criminal cases and other aspects of criminal law in England and Wales. Starting with the offence itself, misconduct in a public office is what's known as a common law offence. What that means is it has not been created by an Act of Parliament, unlike offences such as theft or fraud. It is, however, still a criminal offence in its own right and is punishable by a sentence of imprisonment. Now, the offence itself, as stated on the Crown Prosecution website, concerns serious willful abuse or neglect of the power or responsibility of the public office held, and there must be a direct link between the misconduct and an abuse of those powers or responsibilities. And the Court of Appeal has made it clear that the offence should be strictly confined, as it can raise complex and sometimes sensitive issues. And I have addressed this offence in a previous video where I talked about the COVID-19 inquiry and whether or not people like Boris Johnson or Matt Hancock could ever be charged with misconduct in a public office. Now, there are four elements that make up the offence of misconduct in a public office, and they are as follows. Firstly, a public officer acting as. Secondly, that they willfully neglect to perform their duty and or willfully misconduct themselves. And thirdly, they do so to such a degree as to amount to an abuse of the public's trust in the office holder. And fourthly, they do so without reasonable excuse or justification. So if the prosecution successfully prove all four of those elements, then an individual is guilty of misconduct in a public office. The next thing that I want to talk about is process. What's happened to the individual concerned so far and what was likely to happen next. Well, as I said at the outline, the individual appeared at Uxbridge Magistrates Court. And you might be thinking, well, this case was always going to be heard at the Crown Court, so why has she appeared at the Magistrates Court? And the simple answer is every criminal case, regardless of its severity, whether that be murder or low-level theft, every case starts at the Magistrates Court. Then the more serious cases get sent up to the Crown Court in order to be dealt with, but every case starts in the Magistrates Court. And as I said at the outset, she appeared only to confirm her name and address before the case was then sent up. There was no plea taken and nothing else was dealt with. The next thing that will happen, and I'm talking purely process here, I'm not talking about the case itself, but the next thing that will happen is that she will appear in the Crown Court where a plea will be taken. If she pleads not guilty, then the case will be set down for a trial, which may take weeks, months, or even a year, depending on the court's availability. If she pleads guilty, then she will be entitled to a 1/3 reduction off of the sentence that she would have been awarded if she was convicted after trial. What is likely to happen in cases such as these is that a pre-sentence report will be ordered, where she will sit down with the probation service and they will talk about her attitude towards the offending to give the judge a steer as to where they think that the sentence sits. But ultimately it's a matter for the judge. Obviously, if she has a trial and is found not guilty, then that will be the end of the matter. As to what the likely sentence will be if she was to plead guilty or be convicted after trial, and again, I make no judgments on the merits of this case. She is innocent until proven guilty, and it is for the prosecution to prove the case so that a jury is sure. But if she is convicted, then looking at an equivalent case where a prison officer had an inappropriate relationship with an inmate, albeit there was no sexual activity alleged, that prison officer received a 16-month sentence which was suspended for 2 years, and she was ordered to do 125 hours of unpaid work. So you can see roughly where the ballpark of this case may sit if she is convicted of that. But of course, as I've mentioned, it is for the prosecution to prove the case, and she is innocent until proven guilty. That's all for this video. I will look to do a follow-up once this case has concluded, but if you do have any comments, then please drop them down below. If you did enjoy this video, then please do give it a like, and if you'd like to see more from me, then please do subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, take care.